and he was sort of the executive there. And it was me and, well, Christina, me, and I can't remember if there was anybody else on my team who was there, but Elijah and his mom and his agent. And I remember him saying, well, the actors' reactions, because I think we were asking, like, what did Liv think, or what did Ian McKellen think, or I think we were asking something like that. And whatever it was, I remember him saying that the actors' reactions are always complex. And the way he said complex, it was, as a studio executive, you have to make sure that the actors are in a mental, that they like the movie, that they're ready to help go out and promote the movie. That's like their job. And I don't know, it was just, he was wrestling with how he was going to manage all of our temperaments and personalities. And it really gave me a sense of, perspective and context about what my reaction might be. Like, oh, I'm about to have a reaction. Right? Instead of just watching it and reacting, I was now aware of the fact that there was going to actually be a kind of qualitatively gaugeable, response. So I wasn't just in the movie. Some of the time you just think, oh my God, I look fat, or God, that just looks so wrong, or that take is so. I don't know about anybody else, but the first time I see a movie that I'm in, I don't see anybody else. All I see is myself. I can't help it. I mean, I'm just like analyzing every little thing, and then 2-3 movies in, I look around and I'm like, wow, Kate Blanchett is amazing. Kind of. But so those reactions, you have the certain things that bother you. You notice what's been cut. That's one of the things that just is like a knife in the gut. And the movies, if everything would have been in them, they would have been like 3 weeks long a piece. There was more things than you could ever put in any 10 movies. So stuff has to get cut, but you're like, but not that. I can't believe that got cut. I remember I had that reaction. I remember, we talked about it for 3 days and then we got it and we were all like, yes, we finally nailed it, Dawn. So a lot of that. So that's one of it. And then sometimes when it works, when something is great and you just look at it and you go, that's great. That is great. And it feels really, really satisfying. That's not as much of the experience. Even if it's great, even if a lot of it's great, mostly it's a few things that you really feel. You evaluate, the music, you can feel the music, but you're wondering, does the music really, facilitate what I think it should for my character or something? Frankly, it's a very selfish experience when you watch it for the first time. Try and put yourself out of it. You try and experience the film the way the filmmaker wants you to, as though you're not part of it. But I can't. I can't. It's too important to me, and not just important in terms of the quality of the work, but all the stuff in the rest of your career. I mean, that's really what is the prism that everything is filtered through. It's how is that going to affect my career? What is that going to mean and even Lord of the Rings, which is this, I made $4 billion theatrically, and nothing else will ever come even remotely close to anything like that experience. So it's like, winning the World Series, and I kind of wonder what's going to happen at training camp next year, But that's how it feels. So, and then every now and then you are able to do what I say, just to enjoy the movie for all the nuances and subtlety, and in the way that other people can enjoy it. So one of the things that really impresses me about convention settings is people's ability to do both, to be hyper aware of all the little details and critical of a lot, choose to take on board, like, I really didn't like that, or this is what really bothered me, or I really love that, or whatever, and then also be able to kind of set that over here and then just enjoy the movie and let the movie operate on it. It's actually a gift. It's a choice and it's a gift, and it takes a little bit of something inside, emotional availability, creativity, just acuity to be able to switch that button inside your brain that lets you just enjoy. So I admire that. There's a lady back there. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi. I was just wondering to what extent you worked on a green screen, or how much the sets were built, and how much you worked on a completely real setting.
I would say we're in a real set 80% of the time, and then the green screen was probably 60% of the time. because a lot of the green screen was done on top of the actual physical setting. So you'd be in the rocks, in the environment, and then they'd set up a screen over here so that anything that happened on that edge would be, could be comped in or something. So, yeah, it was an 80s, 60s split, kind of like my vision. Yeah. Yeah, the guy right there with the glasses.
Yeah.
Go ahead, no, you're all right, go ahead.
Okay. Sean?
Yes, sir.
My favorite food is sweet potatoes. I love sweet potatoes a lot. I was wondering if you have favorite food, and also if you also have maybe a crazy food story that you could tell us.
I hope I didn't ruin potatoes for you. Sweet potato pie, there's some great songs on sweet potato pie. 5 minutes. All right, just so we know, 5 minutes. And I actually have to go to South Carolina I'm leaving at 5:40. So I'm I feel horrible. I was supposed to be here through Sunday, but I have to work, so I'm going to go do that. So in 5 minutes, I'm going to bolt from here, run over, and sign as many autographs as people have in the last, whatever it is, 2 hours before I have to go. So, but anyhow, in terms of food, I was, right after Hurricane Katrina, for a whole lot of reasons that I won't go into, I actually became a vegetarian. And I didn't even mean to become a vegetarian. I have no problem with hunting. I like all kinds of meat. I like to tease my vegetarian daughters about it. It's all good. But for some reason, I just stopped eating. You want a steak? No, thanks. You want some chicken? No, thanks. You want some, want a sea bass? No, thanks. You want, no. So I lived until about 3 months ago when, I've been running so much because of the marathon and all this kind of great stuff. And we were down in Santa Monica and we went into a Houston's with my kids, and they get the green beans. Please don't put in too much garlic. The kids don't like garlic, whatever. So, and I just said I'm having a 12-ounce ribeye. My wife's like, no, don't do it. She eats meat, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to do it. So I ordered it. She says, it's not going to be good for you to eat all that meat after you've been eating meat. I was like, I don't care. I was so hungry, so I ate this ribeye with this garlic, and the savory taste was in my mouth for 3 weeks. So I keep getting these vegetarian magazines wanting to do interviews. Well, we know Sean's a vegetarian, and I'm like, it all started when our friends had lobster for, we made lobster at home for New Year's Eve. And that was always the food that I would say when I would get that question growing up. It was my favorite food. And so I just kind of had a little bite, and the next thing I knew, my head was in the bowl. So, hobbits love food. This is a good question. Last question. Yes, sir, in the hat.
Sorry, I just have to get this off my chest. I have always been jealous of your role in the movies. And I was just wondering if you could share some stories that would make me more jealous.
Well, with Goonies, my parents didn't have any qualms about me going into acting. They were happy to facilitate that. The Goonies, I did the audition for the Goonies, and I'm sure I was terrible at it. And I told my dad when I came out to the car ambling at Spielberg's place, and I was like, I blew it. He's like, there's no way you blew it. You were so prepared. We worked on it for hours. There's no way. I said I was so nervous. I kept muttering and stumbling, and he just was shocked that I was not better at it. And I said, let's go home and work on The Explorers, because The Explorers was casting with Joe Dante. And The Explorers, if you were to read the 2 screenplays, The Explorers was a more important movie. This is that dealt with themes that were really, questing and dealt with our sense of our place in the universe and so forth, and making the rocket ship go back. So I read it and I really liked it, and I went in and auditioned for it. So I was offered a screen test for The Explorers. The same day, I was offered the part for the Goonies. And my dad was saying, The Explorers, Sean, The Explorers, it's a more substantive movie. You should really, for your life, you should think about that. And I remember saying, So I have an offer for Goonies. I can be in the movie for sure if I say yes to the Goonies, yes. And I can do the test for Explorers, and they can choose somebody else, yes. And I can kiss the girl. This was a no-brainer. So I remember Spielberg was, he had had some experience on E.T. where Henry Thomas apparently, went or something like that after he kissed the girl in the frog scene, and hurt her feelings. She was crying and she was upset. So Spielberg insisted that he shoot the scene where Mikey and Andy kiss, and which was perfectly fine with me. I had no problem. And so he insisted that it be a closed set. I mean, there were literally 3 people on the entire soundstage. They had it all set up and everything. It was just one guy who turned the camera on and looked through it, and I don't know who the other 2 are, Steven and one other person. And I remember all this kind of anxiety about, what was going to be like, how it happened, if everything was happening. I was like, dude, let's get it on. Take 4, take 5, take 6. Anyhow, Carrie's hot. Does that work? You a little more jealous now? Everybody, I hope I get to see you over there.